Hello drone racers, this is a white box and is happy to see you. Actually what this is the Mobius Mini HD camera. It was only very recently that I got an actual GoPro camera. I was using the Mobius because I liked the form factor for a long time, but then as you may have noticed, I'm flying a lot of micro drones now. Because of that, I bought the Mobius Mini hoping I could use this in several places. I haven't quite fit, and I turned it on, I haven't quite found a sub 100 millimeter quad that I could put this on yet, but I've got one that I'm testing that I'll show you in just a minute that I decided it's finally time to get this out. I've had it for like 6 months. You may notice I've got some Velcro put on it, and I'll show you why. In the box you get the mini drone, and I don't have my other GoPros to compare weight for. Let's see, the mini with my Velcro on it that I've added just a little bit is 28 grams. So it's not super light, but it's light enough that you'll be able to fit it on a 3-inch quad. Also in the box, and I imagine I can just see, they said, we've got this box, we need a finger hole to be able to pull it out, and what if we just add these extra little cuts here and maybe make it a smiley face? See, it's happy to see you. Anyway, inside the box we have a mini USB cable, which is good. It might be good for a lot of people that it includes one of these, because this is one you may not have. This is the older fashioned mini connection. We do have some Velcro for it and a breakout cable, so it is mini USB to, it's a breakout of, yeah, there's actually 3 cables here. There's audio, video, and then power all separately. An extra lens cover, which is nice because I always lose those. And then a mounting plate. You may have noticed on the bottom of this there are 4 screw holes, and here's a mounting plate that with the screws to be able to screw to it, and then there's basically a camcorder or another screw mount. So if you want to mount this on something, you can do that, so you could mount it somewhere light and pivot it and be really nice. It would also help disperse the heat because the heat sink is basically right here on the model. I think it's using these to help disperse the heat, so if you have more area to disperse that, that would be good. It does support several fly modes, but it's basically a 1080p 60 camera. Before we look at it in a model though, I want to show you the software because it was just a little tricky to get going. It wasn't quite as easy as some of the others that I've used. I will save a link to where you get this software. It's on the Mobius website. It's really easy to find. It's msetup.zip or something. It's exe. You run it, then you connect your camera, and it doesn't show you exactly what you need to do. One, it says press the shutter button to enter configuration mode. And just to be clear, that is the button here with the camera on it. So you press that, and then the light will turn blue, and then it just basically reboots. Then you can click here and go through and set up the settings. So then you'll have all your basic settings set for your light frequency that you have at your location. You'll manually set NTSC or PAL depending on where you are if you use the video out. If you're using it upside down, you can set it to inverted. You can also set this as a motion detect camera, so if you want to put it somewhere and just have it turn on during motion, you can do that. Mostly I would go into the video modes, and here I've set mine. You can go up to 1440 resolution, but at that you are stuck at 30 frames per second. You can turn on an image stabilizer, and it's really nice. It has a really good description of what everything does right here on the camera. You also have video clip length, how long you want it to record for after you push that button. I'm going to increase mine to 10 minutes because 3 minutes is not long enough for one of my recordings. Click set parameters and you'll be good to go. You may disconnect your camera, not yet. So one other thing I want to show you, I had problems with it at first. Normally I would just stick a card in and go and hit record, and it didn't work in this case. Here I had to go to tools and then format the camera. So then it will format the camera for me. And then if I unplug and reboot it and plug it back in, you will see it's created these folders for me. And most of the time I'll find the camera will just automatically create these folders for me as soon as I plug it in. In this case it didn't, and it wouldn't let me record anything without them. So I did have to format the card, make sure that works, and be good to go. There also is a photo mode if you use this for photos for some weird reason. And then the advanced image settings if you find you need to adjust this in your areas. So like it's going to be really dark here today. I would like to be able to test this and make changes to it, but I'm probably not going to have a chance to. I'm going to be lucky just to get the flight in. So I'll have to try and fix it in post. But it is here if you get to use it more often. This is the model that made me dig this camera out so I could use it. This is the XJB-145. It is a 4S Flyer. It's a 3-inch flying drone, and it's got this camera mount in it that's just perfect that a full-size camera is way too big for. But this, I'm hoping, will be just about perfect. It still sticks out a long way, but I think it'll work, and I don't know if it'll be in the camera view or not. I guess I'll find out. I added this Velcro to add a little bit of extra security because there is a strap on here, or there's a spot for a strap here. So that'll slide through there. So what I did was Velcro this over here, and that extra Velcro just sticks to the strap because without it, I found it was a little bit loose. So now though, with that, I can get that pulled down, get that pulled as tight as I can, and get it strapped and held on. And I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. And I can still get to the buttons, which is nice. So hopefully I don't lose it and you actually get to see the results of this video. If you're seeing this, it probably means I didn't lose it. As I mentioned earlier in the video, there's really two good options for recording with this. There's 1920 by 1440 with 30 frames per second. And I thought that was the resolution I was going to want because I do most of my videos in 4K. In my videos, I'm looking at detailed review items, and sometimes it's really nice to be able to take a frame and zoom in and see additional detail than you can at 1080. But the problem I didn't think of is that's actually a 4:3 picture like you can see here. So here later you can see I recorded some 1920 by 1080 with more standard resolution, and this is 60 frames per second. Now this is a really dark and dreary day. This is I was doing some battery testing and we just had a lot of rain, as you can see. You actually may recognize this video from the XJB 145 battery testing video that I posted last fall. And I think overall this is just a much better option for a number of reasons. One, it's already a widescreen format, so you're all ready to go, and you can do 60 frames per second. For a lot of people that's really important. If you're posting flight videos, like you're going racing, or if you're doing freestyle videos or those types of things, you're really better off with the 60 frames per second. And with the 1440 resolution, I didn't really see any advantage anyway because it just doesn't fit the screen. It just looks smaller. Even though the resolution is technically a little bit higher, it's not worth it. So you should really just do the 1080p 60 frames per second option, and it works and looks really good. For as light as this thing is, it works really well on a 3-inch drone. If you're flying a 5-inch, I probably wouldn't use this unless you're really conscious of weight, and I would go for the standard GoPro Session instead. But when you need it, when you need a little bit smaller form factor, I was really happy with how this turned out. The image looks really good. I'm just overall happy with it. So if you found this useful, leave a like and a comment down below. I've got options for a couple places to get the Mobius Mini down below. So until next time, remember, even with the Mobius Mini mounted, you can get the XJB 145 under 250 grams if you're careful.